As always, we'll start with the DXY. So USD has been particularly bearish, for the past few days now. However, again, I'm not so convinced in terms of a humongous bearish trend continuation. The market has been bearish for quite a while. Since the start of the year, we've been falling, pretty much the highs over there. So the market has been very bearish itself, but we are starting to become quite corrective, which is why I'm a little bit more apprehensive trying to short the dollar, because I do expect to see some type of, not necessarily reversal, but at least a bigger pullback at some stage. Again, that could happen now. We might see another bearish swing, and then it happens. As to when it does, it's always difficult to predict. But I don't expect any crazy big bearish moves. Certainly as a swing trader, I think the bigger move will be to the upside. So I'm staying patient, waiting to see if some buying opportunities do shape up. But I did mention yesterday that from an intraday level, I think shorts still look good. If you're on the lower time frames, just to try to be in and out of positions, of course. At the moment, everything is still pretty bearish as we do push back into some areas of supply consolidation. Naturally, these will be some nice areas to monitor for some shorting opportunities, especially if you're dropping like below hourly chart. So like 30, 15, I would say keep a close eye on these areas. I do think they can give some nice intraday moves. I like this area here as well, 97.8. I think that would be a nice level to keep an eye on. But I do expect to see some pullback. Again, we've had some nice momentum, but we're starting to slow down now. Still seeing corrective moves, bullish candles coming into play. So I do think we'll see some upside, but keep an eye on those areas because intraday level, there might be some nice shorting opportunities. Just taking advantage of what we're seeing already, which is bearish momentum. Like I said, I do think the bigger move will be to the upside, but I'm waiting to see that happen first. Then I'll look for pullbacks and buying opportunities. I'm not trying to anticipate a reversal just yet with limited information. So buying opportunities I'm speaking about, still a few days away. As for now, intraday, I think shorts make the most sense. Taking that information into Euro, which of course is pretty much doing the exact opposite, pushing to the upside. Of course, USD being weak, Euro being fairly strong. We are seeing some upside here with Euro, but same situation in terms of a very corrective up move. So it doesn't give me a whole lot of confidence to expect, okay, the market is very bullish. Yes, it is very bullish, but we are losing momentum, losing steam. And you can see the way we're moving in this channel. I do think at some point we'll see that big correction and perhaps a bigger downwards trend. But we speak more on that when it does happen. As for now, again, Euro still seeing momentum. We did break out this range here. Maybe not the cleanest breakout. There was some nice initial momentum, but we started to die down there, which is not the best sign. There might be a retest. I'll keep an eye on that. Again, intraday, same situation as the DXY. I also like this range here as well. In fact, this is a slightly better opportunity because it does line up with some nice 4-hour resistance, which of course was over here. Price swing high will be turned support. So naturally, this area has a bit more going for it. But yeah, USD, EURUSD is still very bullish to me. I think again, naturally, intraday opportunities, focusing on the buy opportunities make the most sense. Waiting for price to see a deeper pullback though, back into these areas. And if we come even deeper, back into this area here as well. And then we'll go from there. I'm not expecting big moves for Euro. Like I said, we're still relatively quite corrective. I think if you can get a swing back to the high, that's a wonderful trade. But I do think sooner or later we will get that bigger bearish move and there could be some nice selling opportunities. Just staying patient for that. But again, we're probably at least a few days away from that. So keep a close eye on some pullbacks. 1.174 and 1.163 look good to me. And naturally a buy back to the prior swing high makes the most sense. In terms of pound USD, kind of the same situation here as well. Lovely up move, fading at highs there. Intraday level, we did take up the highs but didn't sustain that, so it looks like price is kind of forming a bigger consolidation over here. I talked about a retest of this range as an area to keep a close eye on for some buys. Also lines up with the prior high there to our left, so I do like this area as an area of confluence here for pound USD. Very confident break to the upside, seeing a lot of momentum. Now that price is ranging stuck at highs, I think there's a good chance we do push lower, go and take out some early buyers, test some more significant areas of support like this one, and perhaps we could see more buyers enter the market there, perhaps see another higher low to continue. Again, pound USD is still a market which I think is quite overextended. It's quite stretched. We've been in this uptrend since the start of the year as well, so pretty much what the dollar has done, but in the opposite direction. So I think we are quite stretched. We're seeing frequent pullbacks as well, so I do think a bigger down move is on the cards for pound, even if it is just a bigger pullback for us to continue higher. But I do expect a bigger sell-off at some point, so that's why I'm not looking for any big buys for pound USD, because in my opinion, in my analysis, price already had that big buy. It's now time to potentially see a bit of a relief of that. But again, intraday move, you're not looking for any necessarily big moves. You're just looking to try and catch the trade for the day or a couple days. So I think that's still a smart area, depending how we react. And then we can see what we do from there. Potentially swing back to the high. Potentially might be a bounce. We put a lower high in and continue lower. We'll see as price develops. But for now, still a very smart area to look for some long in opportunities. Dollar CAD, bit of an awkward one. Coming back from that wick last week, we have been forming some lower lows and lower highs since then. I did say this is basically the target for the week, a push back down into support at 1.355. That's still my expectation. For the most part, we're still very consistent with the lower highs here. The way I see it, price potentially is looking to form another one. If we can maybe put in a bit of a double top here, that could end up being a very nice shorting opportunity. Maybe price pushes back into the high there, strong rejection. That could be a nice place for a short, at least a swing back into this low. But as I said, I do think we can go into the prior lows there. Yeah, I'm liking how we're looking. I'll probably expand that zone to include that area there as well, because this is kind of our range, and that's where the momentum came from. So anywhere between 1.366 and 369 could be a very nice area for a short. I don't want to see price run through that zone and break higher. There is resistance up there, sure, but I wouldn't expect us to suddenly have a big sell-off anymore. Yeah, so I want to see that momentum continue. So looking for another lower high. We're coming to a nice zone there for dollar CAD. Let's see how we reject. If it's sufficient, if we see some valid rejections, wicks, bearish engulfing candles, that could be a very nice place for a short. Target's back at the low. And if you want to try and push further, you got the 4-hour swing low just below it. But yeah, dollar CAD still pretty bearish for me. Still very consistent with the lower lows and lower highs. As I expand to the daily chart, we've had a very consistent bearish trend. I think there is still a good chance we do push back into the low here as well eventually. But again, in terms of a trade for this week, we're not so concerned about targets down here. And more so if we can just get a push back down to support. So that's still my expectation there for dollar CAD. As for Aussie dollar, I'm looking to short this one, not quite in my zone just yet. I am looking at this ascending channel, and I do have an area slightly above current price around 0.66, which is where I was speaking a lot yesterday about looking for some shorting opportunities, because the plan is basically as long as we stay within this range, within this channel, I expect price to respect the highs and respect the lows. In this case, we had a bit of a fake out and price redeemed itself. And now we're pushing back to the upper end of the range. So if I can see some more healthy rejection up here, I'd anticipate price having another swing back into the low end of the range and possibly a break lower as well, which is why I like the shorts, because I'm expecting us to break out to the downside anyway. And if I can position myself up at the highs, not only can I take advantage of the swing back to the low end of the channel, but potentially hold for the breakout as well, if that is going to happen, of course. But yeah, Aussie dollar not quite there yet. We're stalling a little bit here. I quite like it. We're becoming a bit more corrective. So I'm looking to see if we can have another push higher, reject, and then get the sell. And then we'll go from there. But yeah, still very much within the channel. So just expecting us to continue to fluctuate until we don't. As the USD has hit the up end of the channel. So I actually think this is not a bad place for a short. I'm looking at this swing low here. Kind of cloning that. Taking that across back to the high. You can see we've got a test over here, a test over there, again, and now price is back at the high. We've just seen a solid rejection. Looks like price is climbing back below resistance here. I think this is a pretty healthy place for a short and decent risk reward. Very similar to the opportunity with Aussie dollar. They're both kind of in channels, both coming back to the high of the channel. So the idea is that I'm expecting kind of both of them to do the same thing. If Aussie dollar can hold the highs and respect the highs like New Zealand dollar is doing, I think that would be a nice opportunity, and I'm expecting both to see a push down. Or of course, if they don't respect it, and let's say we suddenly get a big push higher, then probably Aussie will break to the upside as well. But for now, New Zealand dollar is doing a pretty good job. I prefer Aussie, so I'm kind of waiting for that one to shape up. But again, I do expect similar moves for similar pairs. So New Zealand dollar, as long as we can respect this area, 0.61, I do think we could be in store for a bit of a sell-off. And targets back at the lower end of the channel. Gold, still looking to short this one. I'm looking at this area over here. This is the last kind of meaningful lower high, which gave us this low. I know we do have some structure here. I'm kind of looking at this as a more minor swing low, a swing high. And price is taking that out, potentially grabbing liquidity to potentially see some more downside later on. So I'm going to see how price reacts with this area. If I can see some healthy rejection there, maybe a nice double top, I think that's an area where a lower high could form and a push back into support and potentially back into this area, which is kind of where I'm looking to buy gold from now. 31.35, that's where I do think the buys could look good again. At the moment, we broke structure. I'm not so interested in buying gold just yet. If gold does run through the highs and takes out this resistance, fair enough. I probably wouldn't change my buy straight away, but I wouldn't be looking to sell. But at the moment, if we can respect this area, that does just about keep me bearish for gold, 33.60, 33.70. Yeah, but it was a very strong rally, I must say, yesterday. So I do think we'll see some continuation higher. It's just about what price does in this area, which will make or break the trade. If we can see some healthy rejection, great. We'll get short targets back at this swing low, then eventually 31.35. And in terms of silver, silver's still pretty much, the analysis hasn't changed for about a month, I would say. Still looking for the retest of the prior high over here at 34.88. That's still very much the plan. At the moment, a lot of consolidation. I must say a lot of wicks here, so definitely support is doing a good job so far at respecting. Price is doing a good job at respecting support, but this is still my preferred area to go long. I also like the brief range we've got here as well. Nice consolidation, big push to the upside. That's adding confidence to this area in particular. So if I can see silver make a move lower and I see healthy rejections there, that would be a sufficient place to go long. I'll be happy to look for a big swing position back to highs, maybe beyond that as well. But yeah, support is holding here. We're seeing a lot of wicks. Perhaps we do push up from here. I'm not so interested because I want to get my stops around here. So if it does rally, it rallies without me, but if we can push down, that'd be great. And I'll be looking for some buys around 34.8.